Hey guys, so I have been, ever since my last video message to you, I have been wanting to get back. I was thinking maybe I could make this sooner, but I've been wanting to get back and tell you how I'm really doing now and get into the details of that. What is life like for me actually on a day-to-day right now, 2.5 years out from my getting off psych meds. So I'm going to tell you in this video, so you'll hear all the details of just, I don't know, the texture of life, what it actually feels like being on the other side, being healed, feeling better. My name's Joanna. If it's your first time here, I went through a horrible psych med withdrawal and ultimately broke up with the pharmaceutical and mental health concept of mental illness, and have found healing and been restored and just been doing really well. And it was a brutal experience, but I am on the other side and I'm here to offer you hope. And if you want to talk with me, I'd love to talk with you. You can find the link in the video description, and I have a calendar. So if you want coaching and support through this, just find me there. I would love to support you. But yeah, this video is about the hope of getting to the other side and what that actually feels like. So I know in the middle of it, you think you're screwed, this is as good as it gets, your brain is broken, you are debilitated, or maybe there'll be slight improvement, but you've pretty much wrecked your brain and your life, and that is so not true. So just please hang in there. It's just not true. You are going to heal, and healing doesn't mean you are still living a miserable existence. It means you actually feel better, and your life feels better, and your perspective's better, and all of that. So let's see. I think I left off telling you about some of the turmoil of my situation at the time of going through the psych med withdrawal. And I have it right here, so if I look down, it's just I'm reminding myself where I'm at in the story. I had circumstantial stuff at the same time, but I'm learning that is super common because we're all in the middle of our lives when this happens. And so wherever you are at in your, life stage, those things might seem like catastrophic and enormous and insurmountable challenges, whatever your life stage challenges are. But that is so the withdrawal, making those normal or hard life challenges look like the most nightmarish, impossible, gruesome, dark, dooming outcomes possible. So I will elaborate on what some of that was for me. I had just personally, so I had just moved to, is my speaker on? Hopefully. I had just moved to a rural area with my family before I went off the meds, and it was part of this idea of pursuing a better, healthier lifestyle, because I had these ongoing depressive episodes, and I had one that lasted a year, and I had gotten, it was bad. Now I know it was withdrawal stuff because of a med change, but I had no idea what was actually going on. And I had finally leveled out and gotten healthier and was mentally clearer, but it was with an increase in medication. And then it was okay, well, ultimately we wanted more of to improved lifestyle. And so anyway, the move was part of, hoping for being healthier. Anyway, so we moved to this rural area, and then I was mentally doing well and learned about getting off the meds and but I didn't I have details about that in my earlier video, like how it was like partial knowledge, and not really an understanding of withdrawal at all. So anyway, I felt like extreme despair about my circumstances, like a kind of like trapped and like it was hopeless. And that was something I looped around a lot. And there didn't seem to be any clear solution. It was just agonizing, and I could not see any kind of way forward, like nothing was clear. It was completely muddled and terror and agony, very hard to make decisions at that time. Like you kind of just, it's like a big pause button on your life. You're like, you just have to heal. So that was where I was at. I also had like huge identity doubt, like questioning my identity. Was I compromised by the meds? Questioning my life choices. Were they because of the meds? Questioning my parenting. Did I parent badly on the meds? Like basically every area of my life felt like this bomb went off and I couldn't figure out what was even right or true or good. And I was like questioning agonizingly, like in terror, sort of like questioning my whole life. I had spiritual doubt, like moral anxiety about decisions in the past. I had distortions about God, fear that the best days of my life were in the past, and fear that I'd done something irredeemable to deserve some sort of like cosmic punishment or torment. Just incredible grief over the years past when my kids were younger, like delusional regret, like as if I did everything wrong and all the best days are over and nothing else good can come and I ruined it. I was medicated. Like I sort of thought of, like I was like, was I like a drug addict? Was I like absent? Like what even was I? And so I had like this delusional perspective of myself. Felt trapped in my brain, trapped in my body, trapped in my circumstances about where I lived, fear I wasted my life, fear the future was dismal and nothing else good could happen to me. So my perspective was so jacked, like about everything. And I like therapy. I even like went to therapy, like thinking, okay, well, what do you do when you're having mental health problems? You go to therapy, you read books, you journal, maybe you need to go to the hospital. Like none of that was an option for me. Like I could not talk to a therapist. I felt like horrendously worse after. And like it seemed like it was just like this unbearable weight that was being added to my already crushing weight of like mental and symptoms. So yeah, no therapist, that's out. No reading books. I could hardly read. I could hardly like I couldn't read. I couldn't comprehend. Like I could like sound out words, but I could not comprehend them. Okay, so yeah, no books, no journaling. I very occasionally could journal, but it like a lot of I felt like terror about journaling. Like my own thoughts were full of terror for me. And writing them down, I felt even overwhelmed about. So yeah, for me, journaling, couldn't journal a lot, and no hospital, because that was also like my concept for mental health was like, oh, well then like if it's really bad, then you need a hospital, you need meds, you need like therapists, like basically like none of that. I was like, how will I exist? Like how will I come through this? And I'm like trained as a therapist, like that's all part of the training, like how to identify mental health issues and be proactive and intervene and do the things that will help, and it was like a major breakup, like to an extreme degree, from like not only the meds, but the whole philosophy of mental health that is in our current popular culture. It was like this major wake-up call that like, this is false. This is completely and entirely false. And I was like, well, then how did people exist before they had therapists and medication? Like, what did humans do when they were like in horrible life atrocities? Because we know they happened. They're recorded in history. There were like horrible fires and plagues and, you know, wars and floods and, you know, like just people would die from disease and like, you know, there's just all kinds of life-threatening things throughout human history. And then what did people do who like experienced those but were still alive after? Like, how did they go from these like mind-bending, horrible life experiences to then keep living, so much so that we are alive today? So I kind of, it's like a call to go back to the basics. And so it was very much like, well, how do I go back to the basics? Like, and I asked people who survived it, like, what did they do to survive it? And it's actually really simple stuff, but really hard to do, like moment to moment. So like, stay alive another minute. Like, breathe another minute. And like, maybe for a while you're living minute by minute or second by second, and then you string those along and soon you're living a little bit longer stretches. And back to the basics of like, okay, well, is walking outside barefoot a little bit calming? Is drinking hot tea slightly more calming? You know, or is crying to, you know, crying out all your tears? Like, just like these ordinary things, and just moment to moment. And I know you feel like, well, I can't live that way forever. Well, you're not going to be this way forever. Your job is just to stay alive right now. Just this moment. That's it. And then the next moment, there'll be some way you'll muddle through it. And then the next moment. And then one day, it's not going to be that intolerable. And like, your joy is going to come back. And you're going to feel okay again. You're going to laugh again. And you're going to go have fun. And you're not even going to be thinking about this anymore. And so it's a call to go back to the basics. So much of my surviving was back to the basics. Like, love. Okay, I'm going to stay alive because there's people I love. I'm going to stay alive again today because there's people I love, and I'm going to stay here for them. And like that, you know, that if there's someone you love, any kind of motivation to like kind of keep staying alive moment to moment. And really, if all you can do is stay alive right now, that is your act of love. That is your act of love. Like, that is your gift to the world, is I'm staying alive through this. I'm staying alive another minute. I'm staying alive another hour. So little bits of hope, you know, like stories of hope are going to help you. Finding a strategy for just coping moment to moment, like getting through the day. And your list of things you can do is going to grow, you know, the things you can actually do. So at first there was so little. I was like monophobic and agoraphobic. So it's like, that's like when you're afraid to be alone, but also afraid to leave your house. And so like, those things feel so contradictory. Like, how do you do that? Well, it was just like moment to moment existence. Like, you know, is there somebody I can call on the phone? Is there somebody that, you know, if you have people that you can live with, a lot of people have to move in with family. If you have to do that, that's okay for a time. Like, some people I know in their healing, they're like, well, I'm just going to go sit at my friend's house. They don't have to talk. We don't even have to be talking. Just that being around somebody can help you regulate a little bit and like stay alive, like feel a little more like safe. So, okay, on to how I'm doing right now. I went on my turning point. There were several turning points. One was around 18 months. And I know you guys are really into timelines. Everybody's timeline is different. But there is a lot about healing that can happen in the magic part. There's a lot about like the 18 to 24 months. So at around 18 months, I remember I was on a call with Angie and I was like really worked up about a vacation because we had planned a vacation and I still wasn't better. Like I was functioning, but I was not feeling like I had my normal mind back. And I had definitely had windows and I had like less intensity. It's like an overlap of like having symptoms and doing life. And it's like this kind of dance where you're like, well, I still have the symptoms, but I'm doing a little bit more life. Well, I'm having so many symptoms now I can't do so much of life. And it's like a little bit of like this dance back and forth between like horrible symptoms and trying to do ordinary life. And so I was definitely like in the throes of that. But I felt mostly miserable except for breaks. And it was coming up on 18 months and we had this vacation planned. And I remember on the call, we talked about vacations and we talked about travel. I must have brought it up or maybe it just came up. And Angie and in the group, they said travel can be very healing. Even if you're not 100%, travel can be really healing. So, you can assess how far along you are, but travel itself, you shouldn't necessarily like avoid it just because you're in withdrawal. Maybe just choose like gentle ways to go about it. And so that kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, it's okay for me to travel even though I'm not 100%. Even though I maybe I feel like I'm 50%, maybe less. I don't even know. Like, I still felt bad. But if I considered, okay, traveling can be part of my healing experience, even if I'm miserable there, we'll just consider it part of contributing to helping me heal. Because Angie's saying travel has helped people in their healing. So I ended up going on this trip. And it was like the turning point for me. And I'm not sure what it is. I think there might be a mix of like getting to be in a new environment where you just are distracted and thinking different thoughts. And there's a sense of possibility, I guess, in being in a different environment. And or just wonder or distraction, and it can jump you a little bit out of your rut. And I think my healing had gotten to enough of a point that could help me to the next stage of healing. Like if I would have done that in acute, like I think I did go on some trips in acute and I was just like, oh, like a total zombie, just my head was just completely filled with torment and I was just like trying to hold my mouth shut to not let it out on everybody constantly. But this was like, okay, I had actually had this time of healing under my belt. And so going somewhere, like I think my brain was actually ready to start thinking about other things, but I needed like the coaxing of different change of scenery to kind of helped that along. And so I just was able to enjoy myself on that vacation. And guys, I had not enjoyed a vacation. Like, it was a really bizarre thing to me, but I remember for years being like, I don't like trips and vacations, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't go on many growing up. Maybe it's because we have young kids. Like, I could not figure it out for a long time. We just didn't really go on any. We would just go on like day trips, and even those, it felt so stressful to me. Like, I didn't feel like wonder and warm fuzzies. Like, even once, like a couple times, I remember having kind of panic attacks, and like that was me medicated, and so like here I am, like in withdrawal, like I'm 18 months in, and I'm having such an amazing time with my kids. Like, I feel a sense of like magic and wonder. And then I did have some like waves where I was like, oh, I'm so sad about blah 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 or blah blah blah, and but then it would kind of like, it would be like one of those cries where you cried and then you could think about something else after. So there was like this shift where there were longer stretches of like, I was actually thinking about what we were doing and having like a really good time. And that was just so incredible for us. And anyway, so that was a really big turning point. And I still did have like those waves or those hard cries, like, or moments of like feeling, oh, terror or whatever. But it was like shrinking, like so significantly and rapidly. And it was like, when it would happen, it was like, oh, here it is again. And I couldn't like make it not happen. But I had so much more of a sense of it not being the whole story and not being like my real self. Like, I'm not myself right now. I'm like really down, or I'm having this wave. Like the emerging like joy and engagement with life and perspective was becoming like, oh, that is the real me. I like maybe will come through this. And maybe this is actually maybe I'm gonna be okay. Like, me actually feeling and believing that, not like just saying it to myself, but like really getting a sense of like, I think I might end up being okay after all of this. And anyway, the circumstantial stuff was just like so amazing. But my husband ended up being asked to have a job. And it was even in one of the places that we visited for our vacation. And so it was just like just unfolded, It was like God had a solution for me that I couldn't see in that time. It was just like such a crucible, and such a like surrendering time of like, okay, this is what I have to go through, and like praying that God had solutions, and then just surrendering to like the whole to God and the whole process, and like hoping there'll be something good from coming out of this, and so like, anyway, just all that to say, like, in your healing time, solutions will happen. It's just a huge painful pause button on your life that like you're like in this crisis, like it's like a cliffhanger on pause, and you're just like, is this ever going to resolve? And so you need encouragement along the way that it will, because it feels so prolonged, but it really will. Like, your brain really will heal from this, and you really will be able to move on and think about and do other things and have real joy. So I back to my story, like the 18-month point, the turning point, and then my husband got excited about this new like ministry opportunity and was invited into it, and I was like completely game, because yeah, I was not loving where we lived. Like, even like it was not where I wanted to be, and it took a while to like discern that from the withdrawal versus like the circumstance. But it became clear that this would be like a good change, and so we moved. And so I was like, where was I at? Maybe 22 months, something like that, off when we did like a move across the country. I'm like, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so wild. But it has been amazing. And like, I've been fully alive for it. Like, I've been fully able to meet life, like, for what it is, and my life for what it is, and be present for it. The hard feelings and the joys. And I that transition period, like, yes, I would have like moments of being like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, like I'm kind of having a breakdown, but they like so quickly became like normal amounts of what you'd call stress or fear because of things going on in your life. And like normal, like to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, I think this is what you would call normal emotions. And I could like have a cry and then move on, and that was that. And then that transitioned into like, well, and then when I would move on, just to like spell out what healing feels like, I could actually focus on everything going on in my life and enjoy sweet things going on in my life. Like, let's see, the breeze, a good walk. Like, all of a sudden things became, during that like 6-month period, more and more things became in the moment and in the actual experience, not like in tormenting thoughts while trying to be in the experience, but like in the actual experience of what I was doing. So that just increased and increased. And now, so then, there was the stress of like, oh my gosh, we gotta pack. Oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. But I could like think about my to-do list. I could think about my kids. I could talk to them about what was going on. I could help them process. And all of my fears about like worst case scenario, ruining their lives, ruining my life, the end of everything, it just isn't the story. Like, we are incredibly resilient, and people, like humans, are resilient. And you can go through life transitions and really hard times and then recover and be doing really, really well. So that's my message to you, is just like, there was so much fear of like total disaster, that just was, my husband calls it fake news. It was just like, I mean, you have like in Withdrawal, you just have like these recurring themes of like horrible thoughts. And it's, as you heal, you're going to see how much of that is just fake news, completely fake news. And you'll get the real scoop on your life. So yeah, now I'm like 20, let's see, I'm like 30 months. Oh yeah. We could call this 30 months. Like in the next couple weeks, I think I'm at exactly 30 months. So what is it like now? I love my life. Genuinely love my life. I get up in the morning and I make coffee and I go for a walk with my husband around this beautiful lake. And I actually, as I'm walking, I'm like, oh, these birds are so beautiful. I like notice the trees, I notice the water. I talk about my day. And then I spend time with my kids. I spend time with many of you, which I love, both those things. And bring my kids to their activities. I meet up with friends. I'm helping with our church. And it's like I'm able to engage in all of those things and just be present for them and actually enjoy them and actually feel normal and talk to people, like you will re-emerge socially and be like, oh, that's who I am. Like right now it's like this identity crisis, like who even am I? And that is the withdrawal. Like, and then you're gonna look back on your years medicated and you're not gonna be so hard on yourself. Like, I do see that I was myself. I think there were probably parts of me that were numbed. So then I had like a reduced experience, but I wasn't completely numbed. You know, like it was like trimmed down, like dulled down. And then I had like lows that would just last and last, whereas natural lows recover. And so the lows that were related to like med changes were really hard. And so I can see that as like that was related to the medication, and that wasn't me. And I can see that I was my actual, like I still was my actual self. There was just parts of me that were reduced. And so I look at it now as like, well, I have an increase. Like now I have more, like more vitality, more joy, more presence, more appreciation for my life, more in the moment. I have more like of an appreciation for people and for my relationships and for ordinary good gifts in life. And I have such a different perspective of mental health, of resilience, of what it means to be human. And so, like, I mean, you can mine this for all it's worth because there is gold in this for you. Gold! Like, this is the riches of truth. Like, costly, but there is so much richness in it. And I would take this any day over being numbed out the rest of my life, and out of touch with what was true. So, welcome to the club of like truth and vitality. And it gets so much better, and I can see so much good coming through my suffering. And I think every generation like has its suffering, like every age has its pain. And this is the suffering that was of my time for me to experience. And I'm so thankful I'm alive for it and I'm on the other side. And you're going to get there. There's so much for you. So please hang in there. I love you guys, and I'm really glad to support you any way I can in this journey. So leave comments. I love to hear from you. Book if you want to talk with me, and just know I'm cheering you on. There's so much good ahead. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.